This video, which takes you through a text that I consider to be about empowering voices, focuses on the text that you can see on the screen. It's by Kate Clanchy. It's Some Kids I Taught and What They Taught Me. I'll be honest and say this isn't really the kind of text I read very often. You're more likely to find me in the book aisle of the supermarket picking up a trashy thriller when I'm not in school reading, that is. However, I picked this one up partly because it's about what I do for a living, teaching, and provides some insight into what this particular teacher, Kate Clanchy, thinks about education. Most significantly, it's about what the kids have taught her. Now, often teaching is about what we teach you, but we learn things from you, the young people, as well. And this book gives voice to that. So, Kate Clanchy herself doesn't really need empowering. She is a sort of white middle-class woman from an affluent background, brought up in Edinburgh with academic parents. So not really the type of person who needs to be empowered. But the text, in its own way, does seek to give voice to those who otherwise don't have enough of one. And I'm going to read you a passage from the text. A passage taken from the middle of it, which perhaps best exemplifies this. Pretty's canoe. I was unlocking my bike outside the inclusion unit when a small round girl in a hijab approached me. "Miss," she said, "are you the writer?" I said I was, and solemnly and carefully she handed me an A4 notebook. "Me and my cousin," she said, "wrote a book. Miss B said you would read it." Thanks, Miss B. The book was quite hard work. Not only was it in Year 8 handwriting, 2 different sorts, multiple colours, they'd clearly been taking turns, and long, but it really wasn't my sort of book. It was a version of a teen novel and took place in a summer camp in America. There were mean girls in short skirts and nice girls in white shirts, teamed with jeans, and a hero with blonde hair falling thickly on his polo shirt, and a boating accident. But what I really want to know, I said to the small, round Pretty and her taller, silent cousin Priya, whom Miss B had solemnly gathered for an editorial conference. What I really want to know is, why is everyone white in your book? 2 pairs of brown eyes gazed at me, baffled, sorrowful. Did we get it wrong? Asked Priya. Well, I said, not wrong exactly, but you can sort of tell as a reader that you haven't been to that American landscape, that camp. Pretty and Priya cast down their eyes. The thing is, I said, canoes don't have engines, usually. The girls shuffled their feet, soft and submissive as a box of kittens. I ploughed on. I said, you're both Bengali, right? They looked up and nodded enthusiastically. Well, I said, why not write a story about that? Miss, said Priya, looking directly at me, we are not in books. That was news to me. That is, I knew vaguely that there were not enough teenage or children's novels, or novels full stop with people of colour as their protagonists, but I wasn't overly concerned about it. I thought, if anything, that it was a problem that would sort itself out in time, that one shouldn't be too politically correct about these things. I hadn't understood at all how this could affect the way you imagined yourself, your inner life, even your fantasies, above all, your writing. But in my own early reading, there had been white bookish girls everywhere, from A Little Princess to I Capture the Castle to Jane Eyre. Girls, moreover, who were the authors of their own books. I remembered how much it bothered me then that Jane Eyre dislikes tall women so palpably because I was tall. How much easier I found it to love Maggie Tulliver just because she was big and dark. How very much merely hair and skin colour, not to speak of the rest of it, language, nationality, class, just matter in books, perhaps especially to girls. What if, I thought, what if all my childhood reading, all my beloved novels and stories had not featured a single person who looked like me or spoke to me? How would I feel if I was not in books? I looked at Pretty and Priya, so soft-eyed and polite. They had no advantages at all. No one at home who wrote or read English novels. Nevertheless, they had written a substantial amount of one. It was quite a thing. Maybe you should write a novel with Bengali girls in it, I said. There's clearly a need. This is a lovely book with Kate Clanchy as teacher and poet, recalling her experiences in various different schools across England and Scotland in the 80s, 90s, noughties, and even most recent decade. It's often really quite funny. Kate Clanchy has a voice. She seeks at times to give voice to some of those students. And that particular passage resonated quite significantly because, well, if I'm honest, I see quite a lot of myself in books. People like me, reasonably lucky, reasonably affluent, reasonably well educated. My experience is reasonably commonplace in literature. And that is potentially quite problematic. So what I want you to do on World Book Day today is consider the sort of different types of book you read and try and push the boat out. Try and pick up a book that maybe is something slightly different than something you would have read before. That's what I'll be aiming to do. And if you have any recommendations as to things I might be able to read, I'll gladly hear them. We look forward to having those kinds of conversations. Enjoy World Book Day. Try and empower your voice and always, as always, get reading. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.